Hey, what's up gamers, Enforcer5150 here, and we're going to go ahead and do a beta review of Modern Warfare 2. And I just want to make sure that it's very clear that this is the beta and not the full release of the game. So we want to kind of take this with a grain of salt as we're getting it, but we all know that, you know, they kind of go off of what the beta is, and they kind of keep that as their showcase of what is to come. Anyway, the graphics definitely are way up there. It does seem a lot like the 2019 graphics in a little bit of a newer engine, and I was looking at some of my old stuff I had on the beta with Modern Warfare 2019, and it's very, very close. It definitely seems like we need a little bit more optimization, which I am sure they will be doing in the next few weeks before we get the final release. Now, Call of Duty definitely favors a fast-paced, like team deathmatch, domination type maps, but it's also starting to feel that way in some of the other modes. I wish they would try to get it a little bit more tactical paced, but that's just me. Now, we have a lot of modes that they gave us in this beta compared to other betas. I actually think they gave us a lot. I kind of wish I'd seen some other things, but let's just go ahead and get to the modes that we have available. We had Team Deathmatch, Domination, Prisoner Rescue, Knockout, Search and Destroy, Invasion, Third Person Mosh Pit, Hardpoint, and Ground War. Now, the Third Person Mosh Pit, I only played there in the PlayStation beta, and I just don't feel the third person too much. I don't like being able to see around the corners and people being able to see me around the corner. It really promotes camping, in my opinion. I mean, it's nice that they actually brought that back again, because it is part of Call of Duty. They definitely had that stuff before, but it's just not my thing. Now, moving on to the maps, we have a few here. We had the Farm 18, Almas, the hotel, the museum, the Seraph Bay, and Said. I can't remember how to pronounce most of them, but we got 6 maps in this beta, and we should be seeing quite a few more when the actual game comes out. It was a good idea of what they had in plan and in store. Some of the maps I just really didn't like very much, but I think it took away a lot of the tactical gameplay. Museum is one that I just really didn't like. It looks great. The graphics are great. It's very much one color, white, and I didn't like the tactical disadvantages you get in that map. Maybe it's just me, but it was just one of the things that I didn't really feel in all the maps. Now let's move on to a few of the things that I'm just not too keen on in the game. The sidearm hanging onto a ledge is a nice feature. However, it seems like you have to do more to get over a ledge, and some people I've seen, they get halfway up the ledge and they don't get all the way up the ledge, and then they end up dying because they plan on just jumping up and killing someone. It maybe just takes a lot more time for someone to get used to the side ledge thing, but I think they should add a different button maybe, or have it so that you can key it to a different button to, one, fully go up a ledge, and one, to just halfway go up a ledge. Now, the invasion mode is definitely decent. It does a team deathmatch in Battlefield. It's basically a large scale map where you have 20 players and then 20 bots. Now, that's the part that I don't like, is the 20 bots. 20 bots is just I did a video on this. It mainly came out to, okay, we have some really dumb bots. They act really strange. You can definitely tell which is a bot and which is not. And when these bots are getting killed, the scoring is very close to how much you get for a normal player. Now, this is just going to give people invasion as a XP farming or KD farming mode, and I just don't like it. They definitely need to do better. They plan on doing a DMZ, which is kind of like a Escape from Tarkov, what I understand. And now this, they definitely need to get smarter bots if they're going to have bots in the game, because it'll be way too easy to do that mode if the bots are at this level. Now, the vehicles in here isn't too bad. I mean, the whole thing is a whole run and gun type thing, and you can set up an anti-tank setup, which I decided to do. It does have a certain balance to it, but I do think they are a little bit too overpowered at the moment. Maybe a little bit of balancing and they should be fine. The one thing the invasion and ground war gameplay is trying to mimic is Battlefield. I mean, there's no other way to look at it. They're definitely trying to do a Battlefield type thing. One thing they need to do is give a way to actually repair the vehicles, much like in Battlefield. You have engineers that can repair, you know, your tank, your helicopters, your planes. Pretty much anything can be repaired, and you get extra points. The only thing that you can actually repair in Call of Duty is the wheels. I mean, if you're gonna add that, you may as well add a way to repair, you know, a little bit more of the vehicle. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the visibility of the nameplates and the visibility of everything else. You cannot see your team that well when you are scoped in. Sometimes even nameplate won't come up and the little blue dot won't go above your teammates. So these things definitely need to be changed. Enemy nameplates are non-existent, so you don't see any nameplate. If they would add, you know, just the nameplates of the enemies, that would definitely help in the game itself. And I do want to mention that spawn points in here are completely broken. They have to fix this before launch. You will spawn literally right next to one of your enemies and give you no time to react, and you just get shot dead. Now, the footsteps is definitely one of the things people are talking a lot about, and I cannot agree more. Pretty much, if somebody is in a building next to you, it will sound like they are literally right next to you. And they need to add some kind of sound distance. EAX in the past was a thing, and that was awful, but we need to have some kind of distance in the sound. The sound design was supposed to be way better than their previous releases, and I'm not seeing it right now. Now, another thing people have been talking about is obviously there is too high of a time to kill. The TTK is just way too fast. I want to say yes and no. I don't want it to be too archaic. When we were talking in our discussion, we were talking about Call of Duty trying to go more militaristic, and if it was going a little bit too much toward military sim than to the archaic type game we've had before. Now, I definitely agree with both sides, and there should be a middle ground somewhere. I'm thinking that maybe they will have a hardcore mode, and in the hardcore mode, maybe, you know, keep it at about this, where, you know, more casual players can play and not you know, die right away. It takes a little bit more to kill someone, just making it a little bit more like a Call of Duty. Now, I really don't want to talk too much about the SBMM because this is just something everybody has been talking about. And if you don't know, SBMM is skill-based matchmaking. And it did come into some problems when we added a new person to our team and we were trying to do matchmaking. It would just sit there at connecting. It didn't know where to put us because you have me and then we have someone that just started playing. So it doesn't know where that other person is. And the SBMM has just always been a bad situation in most games. Now, I just want to add my stance on SBMM and just have my own opinion on this whole topic, is that I don't think we should have it at all. I mean, I want to play against whatever is out there. I don't want to be forced to a lobby to only play against people that are similar to my crappy Call of Duty skills. I want to be able to improve my skills by playing against some of the best that are out there. That's what makes a first-person shooter, and that's just my opinion. Now, obviously, I want to bring up the red dots in the minimap, and a lot of people talk about it. Again, a thing people want to talk about is the red dots. I support either way. I really don't care too much about them. I do know that you should be going off of what you hear, and if you have, you know, the red dots, you know, anytime anyone fires, it's just a problem. It does take you a little bit of the realism out of it. It makes it definitely more, you know, archaic, like some of the Call of Duties that I decided not to play because, you know, it just gets to be too ridiculous where everybody always knows where you are. If that's the case, then what's the point of having a UAV or anything like that? And yeah, the UAV will just highlight everybody anyway. I think it should just be a perk that you can get to have them ping. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Now, a few more things I want to cover before we end this is the Gunsmith is definitely an improved gun customization. We only get 5 attachments in this compared to Vanguard where we were getting 10. It's a good and bad thing. I would say it does give us more of a choice to decide between stability and power. Now in Warzone, you get more attachments than you would in the multiplayer. So I'm wondering if they're kind of doing the same thing here, and that maybe we will see more in the official release. Maybe we'll get 7, and then in Warzone, or in Warzone we'll just get 7, and then in the regular we'll only get the 5, or the regular multiplayer. We'll see when that comes out. Anyway, I did have a few more things I wanted to cover, but this video is already getting way too long, so we're going to go ahead and end it here. Just remember, this is just the beta review on Modern Warfare 2. We'll see what we'll have when the actual release comes out next month. So make sure you hit that like button, definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel. Y'all take care and happy gaming.